Do, 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 do. Okay, hello everybody. Wow, it has been a while and things have changed. I don't have my technical support that I used to, so I'm still trying to figure out how to do that entry that I used to have with my other podcast. But today, I'm just flying solo, and I am here to say, wow, what happened? Like the kids say, oh, it's been a minute since we've been here. Or if it's been a really long time, it's been a hot minute. And let me just say, those are two things that kind of drive me nuts. It's funny how we used to say, it's been forever, when actually it may have just been a couple of days. And now it's been a really long time, and we say, oh, it's been a minute. Anyway, all that aside, I am so happy to be back, but I'm a little nervous, as I tend to be when I let something go for a while and try to pick it back up. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am ready to get back to podcasting because I love it. I love what I talk about. I love the Enneagram. I love anything that connects us heart to heart. And so I wanted to bring up a favorite movie, which a lot of times I talk about a movie, but who remembers The Princess Bride? And please don't say you haven't seen it, because that cannot happen in this time of our lives. Everybody has to have seen The Princess Bride. It's one of the best movies out there, in my opinion. But do you remember the scene, assuming you've seen it, with the fire swamp? The scene where Wesley and Buttercup, they're in there and she falls into what they call the lightning sand. And it's like quicksand, but she just, boom, immediately she's immersed. She goes all the way under. And Wesley, he grabs onto a vine that's hanging from a tree so he doesn't, get sucked under forever. And he just dives right in to go retrieve her. And so they're under there for what seems like forever. And nothing's happening. And oh my goodness, every time I see that movie, which has been many times, during that scene, my chest tightens and I get so nervous because it's like, I can't breathe. They've been sucked under. And of course, they both submerge or they emerge. At the end, they come up together, but they're gasping for breath. And that's how I feel about 2020. I feel like, my word for 2020 is quicksand, because I feel like I've been sucked under, and I'm trying so hard to keep my head above this muck that I feel is sucking me under, and trying to breathe at the same time. And I'm struggling to just get out and run away, just to get away from quicksand. And so that reminds me of the old movies where we had quicksand, right? And if you've seen any of the old classics, and I'm not even going to call them classics, that's what my husband would call them, but any of the old movies, when somebody was stuck in the quicksand, they're just fighting, and all the while they're sinking a little lower and a little lower. And it gives me the creeps when people, I feel like they're stuck, they're trapped. And so, as an Enneagram 7, you might know that our basic fear is of being trapped. And granted, this usually refers to being trapped in emotional pain, but that feeling of no way out, it can cause me to run, just to want to get the heck out, or just to shut down. And when a 7 shuts down, that's kind of scary. It has been for me. So since I've had nothing but time, I have done a lot of thinking and asking myself, am I really stuck? Or have I been giving an opportunity to reconsider where I want to go? Again, time on my hands. So when I got to thinking about quicksand and this feeling, of course, I went and Googled it. And here's something you're just going to hold on to your science hats because this is going to blow your mind. Okay, according to a study published in the current issue of the journal Nature, it is impossible for a person immersed in quicksand to be drawn completely under. And here we go, drum roll. The fact is, humans float in the stuff. What? Yes, that is what I read and what you heard. If you just relax, your body will float in it because your body is less dense than the quicksand. So don't get me wrong. It's a relief to know this, in case I'm running through a jungle or being chased by a lion or whatever, and suddenly I plunge into the quicksand. I am happy to know that I can float. I guess if I'm being chased by a lion, though, I'm hosed either way because the lion just has a floating buffet. But I digress. The point is, sometimes what we think is our reality is actually an illusion. And sometimes when we think this is a travesty or this is the problem, it ends up becoming the solution. I love what my mom said recently, and let me tell you, she has really been going through a lot of things with her mom. My mom is 80 and her mom is 96. And as you would imagine, her health is declining quite a lot. And so she's had opportunities to do things that a lot of times we would say, this is just such a problem, it's such a travesty that to be in a situation to have to watch your mom decline in her health so much. But one of the best things about my mom is she sees so much more and is so much wiser having seen life from her perspective. And what she said is, I know there's a lot of wishing to get through 2020, but I really believe that we're going to look back and say, 2020 was our finest year. Oh, I love that about her. So that has given me hope. But anyway, back to this. What those of us whose orientation to time is the future, that's what happens when we're on autopilot. Types 3, 7, and type 8, these are the future-oriented types. And it's uncomfortable for us to live in the present when we feel like we're stuck. So looking to the future is comfortable for us because when we go there, there aren't any feelings that we have to deal with yet except anticipation, excitement, and hopefulness. And for 7s in particular, at least I'm saying that because I am one, if our default is planning for what's to come, there's no way to be trapped yet. It's like floating, but not in movie quicksand, but on a endless open, a Caribbean Ocean, because that's my idea of floating. That is my go-to floating place, but it's somewhere else. It's in the future. I haven't been able to go this year. And it's hard to imagine that this time of being quarantined and cut off from the usual patterns of living is a gift. But if we choose to see it that way, then that's what it'll be. So I have been asking myself, am I trapped? Is that true? Or am I being given the opportunity to be set free, to get unstuck? Just because I'm not able to do all the things I had planned doesn't mean I can't take steps for when that time comes. And I hope and pray we never have to experience social distancing and isolation from loved ones in the future. But if I look at this time like I've been given a once-in-a-lifetime gift of learning to let go of the illusion of control, then I will be unstuck. I can just let it go. So, with this a lot of time on my hands, I thought, all right, what are some things that I can do that I don't typically do? Now, it's not to say I don't exercise. I do in many different ways. And sometimes I say, just keeping the grandkids is exercise. Well, it is. They take a lot of energy. But I decided to do this exercise program that my daughter actually told me about, and my daughter-in-law, and my son-in-law and my son. The four of them do this together all the time. And my daughter was like, Mom, I think you think this is fun. And lo and behold, it is a lot of fun. The girl who does the workouts is just absolutely a bundle of energy and fun. She wears these crazy wigs and her outfits are outrageous. And anyways, it's very, very, energetic, fast-moving fun, and that's my cup of tea. But anyways, I'll put a link to her account in the show notes. I've already mentioned her before on Instagram. It's called Body by Trainer. But that got me out of my head, which is where sevens live, and into my body. And we've talked about this before. Under stress, sevens can just get so consumed with thinking about our thinking about what's next, where can we go, what can we do? And so to get into our body releases some of that pressure that we put on ourselves. So I've been doing these workouts, and not as regular as a lot of people, but it's been so much fun. And I can feel it. I feel more energized doing this really hard, make you sweat workout. And on Fridays, she calls it Fireball Friday, and she plays that song Fireball by Pitbull, and then encourages, not really, I mean, she doesn't encourage drinking, but she'll do like a shot of Fireball, and it's like, woo, we ended the week on a real high note. And of course, I listen to Enneagram podcasts all the time, but then I decided to add a couple podcasts that are geared towards helping you move forward when you feel stuck. Life coaching podcasts. And so that allowed my mind to go a different direction and, again, made me feel unstuck. So I would love to hear what you're discovering about yourselves during this unprecedented time in our lives. Boy, aren't we tired of saying that? What aha moments have you had? I know for sure, and I'm not undermining the incredibly painful things about 2020, but I'm not, and I promise you, I'm not sugarcoating any of the tragedies of this year. I'm not, but I'm just praying for the many people who are saying, I keep hearing, this is the right thing to do, or that's the right thing to do. No, don't do that. Yes, do that. Don't put your kids in school. Yes, put your kids in school. And the complexity of each of the challenges that we're facing can absolutely be overwhelming and just cause you to doubt your life, doubt your decisions, doubt your place in society, or you can try to reframe it. Of course, a 7 would say to reframe it. And I don't mean, again, please don't say, oh, she's ignoring, what's really happening. And the truth is, one of our very best friends just got out of the hospital from COVID. He was incredibly ill, and we were very worried about would he even make it. And he just got released Sunday to go back home. And he's older, so again, that fear was very real. But we have to look at where we are right now and say, am I a victim of being stuck, or am I having a gift given to me to choose to set my mind free? So, to quote, Mary Oliver, I think that's her name, and she says, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? And I want to say, what will you do with this one wild and fabulous life? It is a fabulous life. And one of my groups that I loved, musical groups back in the 70s, was Seals and Crofts. And they had a song that said, we may never pass this way again. And on one hand, I look at that and go, whew, I hope that's true. But on the other hand, I may never have the gift of this time of reflection again. And I want to be able to look and say, that was the best turning point in my life. So I am so happy to be back podcasting. I would love to hear from you. I tell you, I have some great ideas and already have some guests lined up that you are going to love to be on the podcast. So send me an email, shoot me a DM if you've got questions or ideas. But in the meantime, I truly hope you get to know the joy of who you are by loving your own number. Bye.